door, Pippi?
Not so far, Lou. Should I go?
No, a parlor maid has no business answering doors.
Oh, it's okay. Marvin's is getting it.
That could take all night.
Good evening, Miss Ainsley.
Oh, it's anything but good, Marvins. I suspect we're in for a blizzard. The wind chill outdoor feels like 90 below. Oh,
The weather is tending toward the inclement, yes.
and why the first?
Miss Sheridan arrived about 20 minutes ago. Her hair was quite windblown, so she went to the small bath at the end of the hall to effect repairs.
Hasn't the Doja come downstairs yet?
Your sister, I believe, is changing her gown, Miss Ainsley.
Oh, probably for the 14th time, if I know Theo. I don't know who she thinks she's going to impress. What in the world is that?
Miss Sheridan attached it there when she arrived. She instructed me to allow no one to touch it.
How strange. Let's have a look, shall we?
Miss Ainsley?
Now, no qualms, Marvins. You did as instructed, and I have been informed not to touch it. That I wish not to obey those instructions has no reflection on you.
Naughty, naughty.
Auntie, I only wanted to peek at whatever you're being so mysterious about.
Even at the risk of your inheritance.
What? Are you saying this thing has some connection with Uncle Josiah's will?
As a matter of fact, that is Josiah's will.
What? On a roll-up chart? Isn't that a bit unusual?
Josiah Travers was not a usual man.
If you'll excuse me.
Oh, you may as well stay, Marvins. After all, the reading of the will is scheduled for 8 o'clock, and by the time you go back to the servants' quarters at your normal speed, you'll never make it back here in time. Oh, relax, Marvins. Out at the door.
Oh, I'll get the rest of the staff.
Come in before you freeze solid.
Lou, Pippi, we're getting ready to start.
I hope this is the Travers residence, because if it's not, I'm staying anyhow. That weather's not fit for polar bears. Is there a glass of brandy on the premises? Oh, hooray, an oasis!
Mind if I help myself?
I don't believe that we've been introduced.
I don't believe it either. I'm Flame Fondue. Who are you?
Well, I'm Eloise Ainsley, Mrs. Travers' sister, but I don't seem to recognize your name at all. Miss Fondue, was it?
Still is. Is there an Addie Sheridan here?
Oh, I'm Addie Sheridan, Miss Fondue. So happy that you could come.
Friday nights are easy. I don't have to get up for work in the morning.
And what sort of work do you do, Miss Fondue?
I'm a kindergarten teacher, and you can call me Flame.
Addie, I don't understand. I mean, I had assumed tonight would just be for family.
Oh, I'm merely following your late uncle's instructions, Eloise. He left a list of people and was most specific about who should come.
See? Miss Fondue, you never did explain to me how you happen to know my uncle.
How I knew Josie.
Josie, you mean Uncle Josiah?
Well, I can hardly call him that, seeing as how he wasn't my uncle, now could I? Come to think of it, how come you do? I mean, he wasn't your uncle either.
Well, I always thought of him as such, and he practically was. I mean, he was the uncle of my dear sister Theodosia's late husband Charles, so you see.
I see that, family-wise, you're no more his relative than I am.
You have no right to say that.
Just because it's a fact.
Oh, now, ladies, no need to squabble. Especially in front of the servants.
Are we starting pretty soon? I've got a crown roast of lamb in the oven.
Darn! And and I grabbed me a Big Mac on the way over. You should have told me there'd be refreshments.
Excuse me.
Oh, Marvins, I'll get it. Why don't you just make yourself comfortable with the other ones?
Doesn't seem fitting somehow.
But I've been on my feet all day.
And it is rather special circumstances.
Miss Fondue, you never did tell me how you happen to know my uncle.
It's nothing juicy. Really, honey.
Well, I never said.
But you were thinking.
Hi, I'm Gary Delvin.
Fuzzy Burnett.
Hope we're not late. It took forever to find a taxi.
Oh, that's okay. We can't begin until everyone's here anyway. Why don't you gentlemen just have a seat and get comfortable while you wait?
Well, who else is coming?
Just one more from outside, but the other ones are still upstairs.
Well, hello there. Can I offer you a drink?
Really, Miss Fondue?
A fondue?
Flame.
I'd love to.
Oh, it's her name. Oh,
Say, what is this place? A parlor or a pet cemetery?
my late brother-in-law, Charles, was in the taxidermy. He was quite adept at it, really. Oh, but I'm forgiving my manners. I'm Eloise Ainsley, and this is Pippi, our parlor maid, Lou, our cook, and Marvin's, our butler.
And I am Addie Sheridan, the late Josiah Travers' attorney.
So you're Aunt Eloise.
I beg your pardon.
Why? What'd you do?
Excuse the familiarity, Eloise, but that's what Connie always calls you.
I wasn't aware that you knew my niece.
Well, I hope he does. They're getting married in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's impossible.
Improbable, perhaps, but say, where is Connie?
Now, just a moment. My niece Connie is in the social register.
And I'm married in the Manhattan phone book. Is that it?
I must admit, the name Jerry Delvin means absolutely nothing to me.
Well, it's not his fault you don't do crossword puzzles.
I beg your pardon.
Now what'd you do?
Aunt Eloise, that's how Jerry makes his living.
I hadn't realized you'd all come down yet, but
Eloise, will you calm down? Please relax. It was Uncle Josiah himself who introduced them. You know how fond he was of puzzles.
well, yes. But
Don't be such a party pooper, Auntie. A good puzzle constructor can make a very nice living at it. Hi, I'm Kristen.
You sure are.
That's short for Kirsten. Don't get any ideas.
It's too late. May I fix you a drink?
My sister's under 21.
That's never stopped me before.
I'll put in a lot of soda.
But doesn't that get the alcohol into the bloodstream even faster?
You're reading my mind.
Oh.
who are all these people? I thought tonight was just for family.
You fearless in your share of the Travers millions, don't you? The more people in the will, the less money to go around. But I tell all of you, this is not an ordinary will.
Oh, Zita, you can't possibly know the terms
I
of
knew
will.
Josiah Travers. A man like that would not make an ordinary will.
I hate to say it, but Zita's probably right.
Have I ever been wrong? Not as long as I've known you. And Zita's been my companion most of my adult life.
That is a long time.
Oh, really, Kirsten?
Hold it. Things are going a little too fast for me. Can I have a go around of the names again, please?
Maybe they should have printed out programs.
Oh, dear, let me do it for the benefit of everyone.
No, wait. Just putting names to people isn't enough. I should like to know why certain persons are here.
Isn't this gathering by invitation only?
Well, yes.
Well, I believe that Eloise is just simply trying to sort out in her mind maybe the possible reason behind some of these invitations.
Oh, I see. Well, I'll start. I'm Jerry Delvin. I make my living creating puzzles for a variety of magazines. I met Josiah one day when he came to my office to complain about an erroneous definition I had given for a puzzle clue. Josiah was very big on puzzles.
He certainly was. We could barely keep him supplied with enough magazines to satisfy him.
Even so, the world must be full of puzzle creators. Why should Josiah have singled out Mr. Delvin to share in what should be a family inheritance?
Yeah, for that matter, why did he insist that Miss Sheridan invite Buzzy? Buzzy never even met him.
And then how did he know Buzzy even existed?
Obviously, it's a friend of Jerry's. His name cropped up on the investigator's report.
Zita?
Connie, your great uncle had me investigated? Why didn't you tell me?
I knew you'd be upset.
Well, you were right. The nerve of him, snooping and prying.
Jerry, it is common practice among wealthy families to make certain that marriageable offspring do not fall prey to fortune hunters.
Well, thanks a lot.
I didn't sick those detectives on you.
Of course she didn't, Jerry. Give her a break, huh?
Oh, no, hell. I'm sorry, Connie. But you should have told me about it.
I would still like to know how these two became engaged. Where did they meet and when did they get
And
together?
Eloise, I can explain that. You know, Uncle Josiah didn't drive, so I was playing chauffeur for the day. Jerry, myself, and Uncle Josiah went out to lunch to argue over puzzle clues, and, well, one thing led to another.
Wait a minute. I didn't want anybody's entire autobiography. I just wanted to know who is who.
And I merely wish to know what connection anyone has with Josiah.
All right then, well, let's keep it brief. Hey, Buzzy and Jerry have pretty much been explained. We know that Josiah admired Jerry's line of work and, well, for reasons known only to Josiah himself, insisted that his friend Buzzy also be invited to come along this evening.
Then you're not in the puzzle business.
Not even close. I'm a pediatrician.
A children's doctor? How interesting. I teach kindergarten.
I knew we had something in common. You teach the tots, and I give them shots.
Oh, Mr. Burdette, please, can we remember that we are here for the reading of the will and not to audition for the dating game?
You sound disappointed.
Actually, I think she's jealous.
Oh,
Kissy.
Saved by the bell. I'll get it.
Oh, whom else are we expecting?
oh, now, Louise, there's only one more from outside and then we can begin. And I believe this should be Dan Denton, the final name on the list.
Dan Denton? Sorry, didn't mean to shout.
Then why did you?
It's nothing, Buzzy, nothing at all.
Good evening. I'm Dan Denton.
Oh, let me take your coat, Mr. Denton. I'm Theodosia Travers.
And I'm Kissy. Very happy to make your acquaintance, I'm sure.
Kirsten, when I was your age, it was unseemly for a girl to speak to a man without being properly introduced.
What good did that do?
Right, thank you, Kissy.
Well, now that we're all here, perhaps we can begin.
Not so fast. We still have a lot of identifying to do.
Oh, Zita, I thought that you mystical types knew everything about everyone without being told.
Nobody's perfect.
Well, perhaps we can all find some place to sit and then we can begin.
I'm staying on a comfortable chair. Eloise, come join me on the sofa.
Next to the servants.
I will act as a buffer, dear.
I guess the chief stands alone.
Are you sure we're not here for musical chairs?
Oh, well, there is the coffee table, if you don't mind.
I don't mind if you don't.
No, those legs aren't very sturdy. Why don't you swap with one of the servants?
But we were here first.
Really, Lou?
I don't mind. Honestly, I don't.
My roast, excuse me.
Now's your chance, Dan.
Oh, you might as well, Mr. Denton. Anything to get matters over with. Addie, can we please get on with it? We can always fill Lou in later.
That's not fair. Just because he has to cook for the lot of you, why don't you go fix dinner and we can fill you in later?
Hippie, you are forgetting your place.
Oh, nonsense, Eloise. Even servants have feelings. But you were speaking out of turn, dear.
Sorry, ma'am.
Now the domestic harmony reigns supreme once more.
Abby.
Please.
There's no need to be snotty.
Look, while we're all waiting for Lou, why don't we finish that expose we started a moment ago?
Thank you, Kirsten. That was very thoughtful of you.
Not really. I guess I'm just as nosy as you are.
All right then, fine. We'll do a roll call, but please be brief with it. Okay, Jerry and Buzzy have already been explained. so-
Not to me. Sorry.
Very well. Take it from the top.
Okay. I'm Jerry Delvin. I'm a puzzle constructor. Josiah like to do puzzles. I presume that's the reason I was invited.
I'm Buzzy Burdette. I'm a pediatrician. Since there are no tiny tots on the premises, I have to assume I'm here because Jerry's my best friend. Doesn't make sense, but there you go.
I'm Flame Fondue and I teach kindergarten. I met Josie, that is Mr. Travers. when he was guest of honor at our school. You see, he donated a new wing to our school, and that's why he was there, to make the formal motions of turning over the check. I must have made an impression on him. I
So,
guess.
so we know he was of sound mind.
Mr. Burdette!
Sorry, it slipped out.
Well, I'm here because I'm Connie Travers. I'm Uncle Josiah's grandniece, and well, I live here.
Same goes for me, except I'm Kissy, not Connie. Of course. Your turn, Eloise.
But why should I have to?
You made us do it.
Well, very well. I'm Eloise Ainsley, the sister of Theodosia Travers, who was the wife of the late Charles Travers, who was the nephew of Josiah. I am here by invitation because, well, I'm a family member, suppose.
And I am the Theodosia she mentioned. I married Charles about 10 years ago when he was a widower with 2 young children to raise. Charles died about 5 years ago, and well, I have since raised Connie and Kissy, and well, I live here.
I'm Pippi Dixon, the parlor maid, and I work here.
And I am Malvin's the butler. I work here too.
And I'm Zita Van Zock. I've been Theo's friend and companion for many years. I came here to live when Charles passed away.
And Lou, who just ran out of here, is obviously the family cook. Now, is that everybody?
All except Dan Denton.
This is rather embarrassing.
Oh, should the ladies leave the room?
No, it's nothing like that. It's just, well, my name's Dan Denton. I've never met Mr. Josiah Travers in my life, and I haven't even the faintest idea why I'm even here.
Really? Oh, well, how very odd. I mean, I know as Josiah's longtime lawyer, I can't be expected to know all of his acquaintances, but he specifically requested that you be here tonight, Mr. Denton.
Wait, perhaps it's not who Mr. Denton is, but what he does. I mean, Josiah would send for, say, a plumber without knowing the man personally, so perhaps if you...
Say, that makes good sense. Which reminds me, you never did say what you are, Denton.
Only because I couldn't imagine what possible bearing it had on my attendance here tonight.
Just what do you do then?
I can tell you that. Dan Denton is a plainclothes policeman working out of the homicide division.
Oh, no. I thought we were all over that.
Now, dear, I'm sure that it is merely some sort of a coincidence.
What is?
All over what?
And you don't know.
Oh, I never told you, Jerry. It was so awful, and, well, the newspapers didn't have any details, and the police commissioner kept everything under wraps as a favor to the family.
He and Josiah were very good friends.
Connie, what have you been keeping from me?
Keep what under wraps?
Yeah, what's going on around here anyhow?
You may as well know the truth.
Kirsten.
No, she's right. It has to come out sometime.
Not at the rate it's going.
Connie, what have you been keeping from me?
Oh, the way Uncle Josiah died. You assumed it was old age, and, well, I let you go on assuming it.
Assuming you told me quite plainly that your great uncle died peacefully in his bed.
Well, he did in a way.
What way?
Somebody chopped him up with a meat cleaver into 17 pieces.
You can see what Connie meant about peacefully, except I was spelling it wrong.
You mean murder?
Jerry, a meat cleaver is hardly natural causes, and no one would commit suicide that way.
Oh, you're all doing it again. Why must you keep dragging it up? Why? I tell you, I had nothing to do with it. Nothing.
Now see what you've all done. Lou, you don't understand. What did Lou mean?
Oh, it was his cleaver that was used as the murder weapon. But fortunately for him, it was his night off, so he has a perfect alibi.
It's not like anyone couldn't have gotten that cleaver from the kitchen. We don't keep it locked up or anything.
Wait a minute. You're saying it's still there where anybody can just...
Oh, no, we got rid of it afterward.
Didn't seem right somehow, using it to fix meals after it had been used for, well,
So now we purchase our meat already cut.
I don't blame you.
A pediatrician's day is never done. Can I use your house when my cell died on the way here?
Oh, Mr. Burdette, if we are ever going to get to the reading of this will...
Addie, we can't get started without Pippi and Lou.
Oh, Connie, you're right, of course. I'll go and see if I can't get them to come back.
Listen, while we're waiting, I'm curious, how is it that a kindergarten teacher is acquainted with a detective out of homicide?
Oh, that's easy. We belong to the same aerobics class.
How disappointing. I was hoping you met on a professional basis.
Oh, sorry. I haven't killed anyone in weeks and weeks.
And I'm too tall for kindergarten.
Dr. Burdette here. Yes, put me through. This is Dr. Burdette. What seems to be the problem? Oh, damn. How did that happen? Well, sure, some adhesive tape around the neck for now, if you think, but... Which foot? And the left ear? How many pieces? Oh, heck, I don't know. You better get a specialist. Oh, really? Well, yeah, but if Elmer's glue isn't going to hold it, I don't think there's much hope. Sure. Yes, keep me posted. Thanks. My nurse dropped an antique vase.
I'm still curious how it is that Josiah happened to invite Dan here. Was he into aerobics too?
At his age, oh, I could barely keep up.
Excuse me, sir, but perhaps I can clear the mystery up somewhat.
Yes.
About a week before Master Josiah died, he had me telephone the police department and request a list of the names on the detective staff. I can only assume Mr. Denton's name is upon that list.
Of course it would have been, but so would about a dozen others. Why would he want me in particular?
I'm sorry, sir, I haven't the faintest idea.
well, perhaps when the will is read, the mystery will be cleared up. I certainly hope so. I find this present situation utterly baffling. Addie, can't you get on with it?
Yes, please, Miss Sheridan. My curiosity's killing me.
Oh, well, no son more than my own. I really hope someone can help clarify matters. Now, I want you all to remember that Josiah Travers was a most unusual man, and even I, his lawyer, have been kept very much in the dark as to the nature of his bequests. I can only carry out my orders, as I am doing so now, without the mere shred of comprehension as to his aims.
Addie, are you saying you don't know who gets what?
That is precisely what I'm saying. So, you've all been gathered here tonight, as specified, to see why. Behold, the last will and testament of Josiah Travers. Ain't she a beaut?
What is that?
It looks like pure gibberish.
Addie, I don't understand.
Are you sure he was a sound mind?
I'm afraid I have no more of an idea about this than you do.
I'll be darned. I should have known he'd do something like that. Oh, the old fly boots.
Jerry, darling, you mean you understand that thing?
Well, not quite all of it, but I recognize it for what it is.
What is it?
It's a rebus.
A what?
A picture puzzle. Those drawings and things stand for words. It was one of Josiah's favorite puzzle forms.
Wait, do you mean you can read that thing?
What does it say?
Well, wait, just a minute. I mean, I can read some of it right off the bat, but the rest of it will take some figuring.
Oh, perhaps that's why Jerry was invited here tonight. Uncle Josiah knew we'd need someone to unscramble the mess, and
Yeah, but that still doesn't explain why I was invited, though.
I'm sure everything will become clear once we allow Mr. Downs to read it to us.
Yeah, Jerry, why don't you get started?
Okay, but remember now, some drawings can have a wide variety of interpretation or meaning, but I'll try to make it as clear as it is to me anyhow.
Yes, we quite understand, Jerry.
Just get to it.
Thank you. Okay, I'll see. It begins, my friends.
We can see that.
Don't interrupt, Lou.
No, I have to read the words so we see how the pictures fit in between them.
Oh, of course you do, dear boy. Please, continue.
Okay, thank you. My friends, please, and it looks like there's a sort of teddy bear thing with the word me written on it before the period.
Meaning what?
Well, let's see. Bear with me on it. Oh, that's it.
What?
My friends, please bear with me.
Oh, of course. It's obvious once you figure it out.
What's that next part mean?
This next one seems a little more obscure. We have two rectangles with an arrow indicating the second one, the ace of clubs, the word whose, and then looks like a bunch of arms and legs, and then
Oh dear, that's just like Josiah's murder!
Oh, Eloise, get a hold of yourself. The will was drawn up long before the murder. He couldn't possibly know what was going to happen.
Addie's correct, Eloise. Just calm yourself down.
shall I continue or what?
Continue, of course, please.
Somebody should be writing this down.
Okay, let's see, where were we? Then we have enjoy dabbling in followed by two buses. That's it!
What?
Enjoy dabbling in rebuses. In rebuses.
Got it. But that stuff that comes before it, what do I put down?
Members.
What?
Those arms and legs, they're members. Members who enjoy dabbling in rebuses. You know, Uncle Josiah belonged to a club whose members enjoyed, creating and solving puzzles.
Of course, and that's a club, the Ace of Clubs. So it would be a club whose members enjoy dabbling in rebuses.
Yeah, but what can those two rectangles mean?
That's where rebuses can get tough. As I said, there could be a wide variety of interpretations of the pictures. Those two rectangles could represent boxes, tetragon, or oblongs, or two blank pieces of notepaper end to end.
But that arrow must mean something, doesn't it?
Pippi, a well-trained parlor maid, only speaks when she is spoken to.
Eloise, under the circumstances, I do believe that propriety needs to be left by the wayside. Pippi was invited, and after all, Uncle Josiah's will is fair game for everyone.
Well, I kind of have an idea. Whatever those two things are, the arrow seems to me we should only suggest the second one. You see?
Good thinking, Lou.
Yeah, that must be it. Let's see. Second rectangle, a club. No, that's meaningless.
Well, wait, that terminology might have its own variation. I mean, it could be second rectangle number to a club.
Or even oblong to.
Well, Kissy, that's it. Oblong to a club.
I don't get it.
It's a pun. Most rebuses are. It reads, I belong to a club whose members enjoy dabbling in rebuses.
I still don't get it.
Oblong, I belong.
Oh, oh, I guess of course he is. Oh, it is fun.
Naturally, if it wasn't fun, why would Uncle Josiah have indulged in it for all of these years?
Oh, look, could we please just get on with this?
Well, I've got that next part. That's a sign indicating therefore. I remember it from my geometry classes in high school.
Very good, Marvin.
Got it. Well, what's next?
Okay. Now, this next part is easy. I mean, I spotted it right away when Miss Sheridan opened up the chart here. In between all these words, we have an open tin can and a picture of a balding mustachioed man with an Elizabethan wreath, followed by a Bible before the next period. Now, take that man, figure him to be William Shakespeare. He was Elizabethan, and that looks like a picture I've seen of him once.
But what could my lad Shakespeare possibly mean?
Not Shakespeare, Will.
Oh, I get it. Okay, then it could be, I have decided to leave my vast fortune to anyone friend, relative, or stranger who can decode this, my last will and
Testament.
Oh!
Okay, now this next one has me stymied. Looks like someone machine gunned a pair of sausages. Anyone else care to give it a try?
Let's see, holy sausages.
That sounds like a line from Batman and Robin.
Perforated pepperoni.
That alliterates nicely, but what sense does it make?
No, those look more like hot dogs to me, but what could punctured hot dogs mean?
Look, why don't we just skip over that for now? We can come back later, see how it works out in context.
What picture are we supposed to look behind?
That's the only one in the room.
Well, what's behind it?
Josiah's safe. The location was supposed to be a secret.
Oh, Addie, if Uncle Josiah wanted to keep the wall safe a secret, then why put it in the will?
But whose faces are those in the picture?
Well, on the left, that's Sandra Dee, the movie actress.
And some kind of animal paw with a whopper of a pimple on it.
And that guy in the bottom there, that's Johann Sebastian Bach, if I remember correctly, but who's that gal cheek to cheek with him?
Seems to me that's another movie actress. The face is quite familiar.
Barbara Bach, of course. Right next to Johann Sebastian Bach. Oh, the name similarly must mean something.
Oh, let's add it all up and see what we've got.
Hey, wall safe.
Sandra Dee.
Apollo's a big sit on it.
Barbara Bach.
And Johann Sebastian Bach.
Oh, that doesn't add up to anything.
But it must, otherwise why would Josie have indicated it? I got it.
What?
What?
A wall safe, Sandra D, Apollo the Zit, and a pair of box.
Safe.
D.
Posit.
Box.
Safety
Okay, you will find a large sum of whatever those ventilated weenies are in a safe deposit box in a shaky vase.
Oh, Buzzy's nurse. She phoned about a broken vase.
Flame, use your head. How would Josiah Travers know that my nurse would get butter sugar the night his will was read?
Well, True enough, I guess.
Of course, that silly urn has been loose for quite some time, but Josiah wouldn't have known about it.
Buzzy, that's it.
What?
It doesn't mean shaky vase, it means loose urn.
Of course. Now it makes perfect sense.
Not to me, it doesn't.
Loose herb. Lucerne. Like a town in Switzerland.
But why would someone go all the way to Luzerne, Switzerland, to fill a safe deposit box with porous bratwurst?
Let's skip over that one too. We'll come back to it later.
What's that written on that hypodermic?
Oh, Procaine, it's a local anesthetic.
The stuff the dentist pumps into your gums before he starts drilling, maybe.
Oh, that stuff. I hate the way it makes you feel.
On the contrary, you mean the way it makes you not feel. It makes everything totally numb.
Not as numb as you'd like it to be, though. I can still feel the drilling a little.
Kissy, when that happens, you should let the dentist know, and maybe he'll give you some more.
Oh, no. I'm not feeling numb without feeling number.
That's it. It's another pun. Procaine is a number, but if you write it out, it's spelled exactly like number.
The number of the safe deposit box in Lucerne. Oh, this is more fun all the time. Oh, with all due respect to the dear departed, of course.
Eloise, you are enjoying yourself immensely. Why not just admit it?
Well, just a tiny bit.
Are we taking a dance break or what? Because if we are, I want another drink.
Of course we're not. Please, Mr. Dalton, could you please get on with it?
I don't know if I can. The meaning of that empty mailbox completely eludes me.
Well, let's try it in context. Let's see. You will find a large sum of whatever those sausages mean in a safe deposit box in Lucerne, the number of which is first initially the something of this group.
That's odd. What's odd, Zita? Why would Josiah say first and initially? They both mean the same thing, don't they?
Well, it's gotta be a clue.
But that's right. As a puzzle lover, Josiah wouldn't make a mistake like that.
Of course, he was expecting a meat cleaver at any moment.
That can't be.
Pippi is quite correct. The will was done long before Master Josiah was before someone.
Yes, that's right. At least a week before. Perhaps two. Oh, I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up.
But what about that empty mailbox?
Yeah, we seem to be getting off the track. Does anyone have any ideas about that?
Let's be logical. An empty mailbox means there's no mail.
Could it refer to a postal holiday?
Postal holiday of this group? No, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, maybe it's the name of the holiday, like Christmas.
President's Day?
Memorial Day?
Labor Day?
Now, those don't seem to make any sense at all.
Maybe it's a semi-holiday, like a Halloween. Halloween's not a holiday at all.
It is in Transylvania.
I wonder.
What?
Well, I was born on Halloween, but I can't seem to fit my birthday into this text. The Malvin's birthday of this group.
Maybe that's what those sausages mean.
What?
Halloween.
How do you figure, Buzzy?
Hollow-weenies.
Come on, Lizzie.
Well, it's as good as anything else we thought of.
Buzzy's got a point there.
Maybe on the top of his head.
Hey now, let's do this thing calmly, shall we?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, Dr. Burdett.
It's all right. We're all kind of tense right now.
Missing letters. That's it. That's what that empty mailbox means. Missing letters.
But Jerry, darling, that can't be right. We're looking for numbers, not letters.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You know, let's just skip that one too. We can always come back later.
Good idea. Now, what's the significance of that guy in the toga?
And why is he pushing a teapot away?
Teapot wearing a beret.
And don't forget the plus sign in front of the guy.
Could that guy be Julius Caesar? I mean, he used to wear one of those curl wreaths around his head.
Laurel wreaths.
Oh, whatever.
Caesar, that's right. But what was his final word?
Didn't he say, Et tu, Brute?
Yeah, he did in the play, but did he in real life?
Yes, I remember that from high school. You see, Shakespeare was using an actual quote at that point, and that's why he left it in Latin.
But what's that to do with a teapot and a beret?
Maybe it's a French teapot.
Well, what's French for teapot?
Search me.
Well, the French word for tea is K. Does that help at all?
Et tu, brute. Brute. Brewing tea. But get rid of that, and we have...
That leaves et two, but where does that leave us?
A2, those are numbers. 8 and 2.
Yeah, but it's not enough. I'm sure a number of a safety deposit box is longer than that.
Maybe that's where the plus sign comes in.
Oh, of course. Those are only the last two numbers. That empty mailbox must indicate the numbers that come before them.
But how? What do missing letters have to do with numbers?
Why don't we move on and we can come back to that one later?
Where are we here now?
What's that next drawing, anyway?
It seems simple enough to me. It's a sailor lying in the sun.
No, I mean that thing by his feet.
Well, it looks like a squashed football.
Oh, no, maybe a badly drawn Valentine heart.
No, I think it's a kidney.
You're all wrong. It's a bean. I'm a cook, trust me.
I think he's right.
Yes, a navy bean. It has to be, or why else draw that sailor?
No, it's too flat for that. More like, a lima bean.
Hold it. It's not a type of bean at all. It simply means bean. And it would read, P.S. You should also know that I have beans.
he has been what? Being given a tanning by a sailor?
Oh, maybe we should skip past that one too.
This next one's really puzzling.
The speed limit sign. What's so hard to figure? 0, 0 miles per hour seems simple enough to me.
Yeah, but why two zeros? Simply 0 miles per hour would be the same thing.
Dan's right. I mean, that double zero must have some significance.
Roulette. That's the only thing I know that uses double zero.
Maybe it refers to Las Vegas, or might be Monte Carlo.
Or even Atlantic City.
No, it probably doesn't mean any of them at all. Clues that vague wouldn't be playing fair.
Why don't we skip over that one too and go to the last one and come back and go over everything?
Let's see. There's a diamond marked AB and another diamond marked BC. And the second one is stuck in that I.
Diamond and I, old Diamond and I.
Not diamond, gem. Gemini. It's a horoscope sign.
But Josiah wasn't into horoscopes.
Of course he wasn't.
Why are there two diamonds?
Older. The first diamond is a setup showing a diamond that's of recent age, so we'll know. The second one is older.
Now, this final portion here, just see, it reads, in this very house, kindly see to, the C2 seems to be as simple as that, the usual legalities inherent in such instances.
In what instances?
Well, I would think that, well, being the lawyer of the group, that legalities part must somehow refer to me, don't you think?
That seems to make sense.
But where does all this leave us?
I'll read what I have so far, but it's not a lot. My friends, please bear with me. I belong to a club whose members enjoy dabbling in rebuses. Therefore, I have decided to leave my vast fortune to anyone, friend, relative, or stranger, who can decode this, my last will and testament. You will find a large sum of...
What? Are you saying there aren't any specific requests?
It would certainly seem so, dear.
But that's not fair.
Aunt Eloise, it was Uncle Josiah's money. I think he should dispose of it any way he chooses.
Easy for you to say. He already has trust funds set up for you and Kirsten and Theodosia.
Look, you can fight over the terms of the will later. Let's first find out what those terms are, shall we?
Jerry's right. Go ahead.
All right, but here's where it gets kind of murky. You will find a large sum of ventilated weenies in a safe deposit box in Lucerne, the number of which is first initially that empty mailbox of this group plus 82. Good luck to you all. P.S. You should also know that I have been that sailor in the sun by 0, 0 miles per hour, an older Gemini in this very house. Kindly see to the usual legalities inherent in such instances. And then his initials after the P.S. and that's it.
Gemini, I wonder if Master Josiah...
I think that we should figure out all of these Charlies before we go any further. Isn't that a good idea?
Yes, maybe we should break for dinner.
Hey, I thought you had a Big Mac on the way over.
Yeah, but all the drinking has given me an appetite.
Come on, Pippi, you can help me slice the roast.
Sure thing. The dining room is this way.
I still think this whole thing is damnably unfair.
Oh, Eloise, now don't get upset. We don't know the whole will yet.
I wish I could figure out that empty mailbox thing.
It says Frankenfurters with the holes that are driving me nuts.
Missing letters. Missing first letters. First initial missing letters.
Shouldn't we be asking around to find out which one of the group is a Gemini?
But what does somebody's birthday have to do with anything?
Well, I guess when we figure out who that person is, it might make sense.
Evil. There's evil here. I can feel it. It is very nearby and it's getting here.
Is she kidding?
Don't scoff, Dan. Zeta has some very unusual gifts.
Look, puzzling is bad enough. Let's not move on to spooky.
Yeah, there is a sort of strange feeling in the air. We need a change of atmosphere. Mom, why don't you put a record on?
As you wish, Mr. Denton.
Initials Missing first initials, that's it. And I think that explains Dan.
What are you talking about?
You said you've never met Josiah, but he invited you here specifically tonight after going over the list of detectives in your department. It has to be because your name begins with a D. What other reason could there be?
But why send for a detective at all?
Because of the evil. I knew there was something in the air. And I think that somewhere in that will, Josiah is giving us a clue to his killer.
Yikes. I wish that didn't make sense.
Those letters, our initials, what are they initially?
I better put it down on paper.
Good idea.
But which initials? I mean, mine and Buzzy's and Dan's are the same first or last, but I don't understand.
No, Josiah said first initial. It has to be the first name.
Hold on, I nearly got it. How's this? Addie, Buzzy, Connie, Dan, Eloise, Flame, and then there's no G, H, or I, and then Jerry, myself, Kissy, Lou, and then we skip to Pippi, and then another skip to Theodosia, and then we end with Zia.
That's only 12 names. You've left somebody out.
Oh, well, it seems to be complete. Who did we?
Oh, Marvin's?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Oh, of course. I meant to stop at his name and ask him, and then I got so busy alphabetizing, but I forgot.
Forgot to ask him what?
His first name, of course.
Pardon me, ma'am, but Marvin's is my first name.
Isn't that unusual? I thought butlers always went by their last names.
That is so, Mr. Delvin, but Master Josiah was most insistent on calling me by my first name. He said something about if I wanted to be mentioned in his will, you see?
The will. The names really must be a clue.
Muffins, what is your last name?
Why, my last name is...
What happened?
There's a switch over there to go, everybody.
I knew I felt the approach of evil.
Too bad Marvin's didn't.
I think he's dead.
But how? There was nobody anywhere near him.
Why would someone want to kill Marvin?
Who could do such a thing?
And how did they do it?
Yes, from whence did the hand of evil descend?
Well, one thing we all know for certain.
What?
The butler didn't do it.
Aren't you finished yet? I need a hand with the dishes.
Sorry, Lou. Those chalk marks don't come up very easily.
Why do they always draw chalk marks around the body?
So they can take photographs of the spot, I think, and know where it was.
Why don't they just photograph the body?
They did photograph the body.
Then why bother with the chalk marks at all?
I guess they just like making messes.
I wonder what's keeping Dan. He promised he'd come right back.
Oh, he's probably doing paperwork. Policemen spend most of their time doing paperwork.
We should count ourselves lucky we had a police investigator here when the murders occurred. I mean, our explanation would have sounded fantastic.
What gets me is just how did it happen?
What do you mean, Buzzy?
It seems simple enough to me.
Me too. The lights went out and somebody got stabbed.
Yeah, but those lights were not more than 5 seconds. How can anybody get to him, do the deed, and then get away in that short period of time?
Perhaps the killer was wearing track shoes.
I'm really baffled, Addie.
Well, sometimes one's sense of time gets, well, distorted under stress, and the interval of darkness may have been much longer. As a matter of fact, in this case, it would almost have to have been, since our killer came in, did the old boy in, and left without anyone seeing him or her.
I wish you wouldn't call him our killer, Addie. It makes me feel like I'm on his waiting list.
Oh, who would want to come after you?
Why would he want to go after Marvin's?
Well, wait, Marvin's was just about to tell us something when he got it. Probably something that would betray the killer somehow.
But the killer wasn't a killer yet.
We can't know that. I mean, after all, somebody killed your great-uncle Josiah.
And if Marvins had known who'd done it, why didn't he tell the police?
Well, perhaps he didn't realize what it was that he did know. That is, he didn't realize that it had anything to do with Josiah's murder until...
Until what?
Well, I guess we'll never know, because whatever it was he was going to say died when he did. I certainly can't imagine what it was he was going to tell us.
But we don't have to imagine, Addie, we know.
We do.
He was going to tell us his last name.
Well, what could his last name do with anything?
Well, maybe that would give us an explanation as how to expose our killer.
The killer, please. I wonder what's keeping Dan.
What's with you and Dan anyway, Flame? You two weren't into more than just aerobics, were you?
Of course not. Well, I mean, we did go to dinner a few times after class.
Well, didn't that defeat the purpose of all that exercise?
Exercising gives me an appetite.
Just why are you so concerned about Dan's return?
Because I want to go home. And Dan, whatever his name is, said that we couldn't leave until he came back. Is that so unreasonable?
I just hope they don't still want to question us. I get nervous doing pop quizzes in the newspaper.
Oh, Connie, an innocent person has nothing to fear.
Have you strolled through Central Park lately?
I meant from the police.
Then what do the station houses do with all those rubber hoses? You know, if she sits that way much longer, a couple of Egyptians are going to tiptoe in here and clap her into a mummy case.
Do not mock what you do not understand, Dr. Burdett.
Zita, what are you meditating about?
I'm trying to find a vocal point of the evil aura in this house.
Any luck?
Well, not so far, but there is a glimmering, flickering.
And would that hold up in a court of law?
The law. What does it know of the infinite, of the horrible throbbing emanations that pure evil give off? Only I can sense such things.
But if the law doesn't believe you, what good does it do?
Once I know who the killer is, I can inform the authorities, and they will pinpoint their investigation of that person.
But what if that doesn't help? I mean, if the killer can't turn up anything illegal about that person, then all you've done is let the killer know that you're on to them.
Yeah, and that's not what I call very bright.
Well, if the law will do nothing, then I will do something.
Oh, that sounds mighty dangerous.
Stalking a forewarned killer?
I, Zita Van Zock, will not have to stop. No killer, no matter how strong-willed, can resist the full brunt of my powers.
Oh, come off it, Zita. I don't believe in sorcery.
You are an idiot!
Good day.
Oops, sorry about that. Return to normal.
Where am I? What happened? What did she do to me?
Oh, Holy Toledo, Zita, what the hell did you do to him?
I told you Zita had special powers.
Oh, Zita, this is fascinating. You need to come do your stuff for my kindergarten class. They'd go crazy over you.
Really, Miss Fontaine, my powers are not a toy.
Well, I only thought that...
Well, my dear, I only meant that. I do not do conjuring tricks. My powers are quite real. I'm afraid the children become terribly frightened by demonstration.
Then you don't know kids very well, Zita. They're probably the most bloodthirsty little... Well, let's just say blood and gore are, to borrow from the Sound of Music, a few of their favorite things.
Have I missed anything, my dears?
Buzzy just got a dose of Zita's whammy power.
Otherwise, it's been dozeful all the way. How's Eloise?
Well, finally asleep. Luckily, I had some sedatives in my medicine cabinet. The poor dear was nearly hysterical about Malvin's murder.
I wasn't exactly the picture of serenity myself. I mean, here we all are casually chatting, and all at once, darkness, screaming. And then the lights come up on an unexpected corpse.
Well, has anyone figured out what happened exactly?
That's what we were trying to do before that whammy. But frankly, I'm still baffled. There's no way a killer could have come and gone in that short space of time, but it happened.
Well, at least we know who didn't do it.
Well, what do you mean, my dear?
Well, it wasn't any one of us in that bunch by the desk.
Oh, Kirsten, you couldn't possibly know that, not in the dark.
Listen, even an Olympic medalist couldn't have galloped across this entire room, killed Mobbins, and galloped back before Buzzy turned the lights on again. For one thing, we'd have heard him.
That's right. We didn't hear a sound, not a footstep while the lights were out.
But of course, we ladies were screaming pretty loudly.
Yes, but running footsteps make an entirely different type of noise. You don't just hear it, you feel it through your feet. And I swear I didn't hear so much as a rustle sound like that.
Really now, how it was done is less relevant than the fact that it was done. And until we find out by whom, the nightmare goes on.
Oh, no wonder poor Eloise is so upset.
Well, I wish that was the only thing she was upset about.
What else is there?
Well, you see, she seemed very disturbed about Jerry Delvin.
About me?
I knew we should have told her about the engagement.
No, my dear, it has nothing to do with your engagement to Jerry. It has more to do rather with his line of work.
Well, that's not fair. Okay, so he doesn't make the big bucks suitable to marriage into the social register, but...
I'm afraid you're all missing my point.
You mean missing Eloise's point, don't you?
I'm not sure.
Just what are you trying to get at, Mrs. Travers?
Well, Jerry, you are a puzzle expert, and with the unusual form of Josiah's will, it does require a specialized knowledge to interpret.
And?
Well, Eloise was wondering, and got me wondering too. Now, how can I put this to you delicately?
If you're trying to save my feelings,
Jerry.
it's a bit too late.
Jerry, it's Connie's feelings I'm more concerned about.
What are you trying to say?
Well, it's just this. How do we know that we can trust Jerry's interpretation of the will?
Why, I never thought of that. How do we know that you're not hoaxing the lot of us, sir?
Oh, that's ridiculous. Why would I not?
Josiah left a lot of money. Why shouldn't you?
Oh, hold it, everyone. Use your heads. If Jerry came up with the wrong number on that safe deposit box, we know it the minute we tried to look it up.
There is other information in that will, Dr. Burdett, such as the identity of Josiah's murderer.
Oh, Zita, what are you talking about?
A clever man, a man like Josiah, suspecting he was about to be killed, would find some way of leaving a message. I rather think the postscript is the part containing the vital information.
Honestly, Zita, you can't expect us to believe that Uncle was killed by a sailor.
Or a speed limit sign for that matter.
But how about that Gemini? I seem to remember Marvin's getting very bemused the moment that part was solved.
But I have already told you, Josiah was not into horoscopes.
What if that Gemini means something else?
Like what? A real diamond in somebody's eye?
No. What I meant was...
Oh my, that sounds like Eloise! I thought you said she was heavily sedated.
With a killer on the loose, how would anyone get to sleep?
Good. They're gone. I'm getting out of here.
But the police, Lou. That detective said nobody was to leave.
If you have any brains, you'll leave too, girl. A killer can only be fried once. What's another murder, more or less?
But the police, they will come after you and they will find you.
By the time they know I'm gone, I'll already be on a plane to Switzerland.
Lou, you figured out the will?
Of course I have. All of it. Including the name of the killer. And listen, if anything should happen to me, well, you and I have been good friends for a long time. And I don't have much in the way of possessions, but I'd like you to have this. If anything goes wrong, if only as a memento, it certainly can't be worth much.
Lou, don't talk like that. Please don't go. If you know who the killer is, you should tell somebody.
After I collect those Swiss francs for the two of us.
What Swiss francs?
It's the hot dogs with the holes in them. What else could they mean? Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm in a hurry. And not a word to anyone now, do you understand? If the killer thinks that you might know what I know, you'd be in terrible danger.
Lou, are you sure you figured out those numbers in the safe deposit box correctly?
Easy as pie. Just list off all the first names alphabetically and add up the totals of the missing letters of the alphabet, group by group. Now, be careful, honey. I've got to go.
Lou, please don't go. At least tell me who the killer is. Then I'll know who to steer clear of.
But I don't have time to explain how I figured it out.
Forget that part. Just give me the name.
Okay.
that detective? Back already.
He mustn't know I've gone. Not a word to anyone. I'll sneak out as soon as nobody's around.
But what if he has to hang up his coat?
Pippi, why are you not getting the door?
Sorry I kept you all waiting, but there was a lot of information I had to gather. Where's Miss Ainsley and that Van Zock woman? And Mrs. Travers?
Here, sir, let me hang that up for you.
Oh, Pippi, that's not necessary.
No, I'll just put it over here then, on the chair, if that's all right.
Yes, that'll be fine, Pippi, thank you.
Well, in answer to your question earlier, Zita and Theo are up checking on Eloise. She had a bit of a fright earlier, and well, when she started screaming, we all ran up to check on her. That's where we were coming back from when you came in.
Would you all please have some seats? Scare? What sort of scare?
Oh, it was nothing, Lieutenant. Eloise woke up in a semi-dark room and there was a lounging robe draped carelessly across the chair.
It did look rather like a hunchback's dwarf, though.
That's what Eloise thought it was, anyhow.
Yeah, I'm sure the other ladies will be down as soon as they get Eloise back to sleep.
Very well, we'll wrap up a few of the things while we're waiting.
Oh, shouldn't everyone be here, Lieutenant?
What I have to say doesn't involve them or this household.
Then what has it got to do with the case?
That's what I hope to find out. Here's some of the information that I gathered at headquarters tonight. First off, your name isn't really Buzzy, is it?
Well, no, of course not. It's a nickname. I just happen to prefer it to my own name. There's no crime in that.
What is your real name, Buzzy?
Benjamin Bradford Burdett.
It certainly doesn't suit you.
That's why I never use it.
Quite a monogram it gives you, all bees.
Well, that's how I got the nickname Buzzy.
That's fine and dandy, Dan, but why are you nitpicking such little details?
You seem to have forgotten Josiah's will, Jerry. We must know the exact first names of everyone here, remember?
Oh, that's right.
But Buzzy's real name doesn't change a thing. It still begins with a B. Same goes for my own name. Kirsten and Kissy don't affect the will a bit.
Oh, wait a minute. What a dope I've been.
Yes, you have, and we're getting to that. But first, do you still want to claim you're a kindergarten teacher, Miss Fondue?
I guess not. Doesn't much matter anymore, does it?
Well, who are you then?
Oh, she's playing Fondue, all right. Except she's a private detective hired 2 months ago by Josiah Travers.
Okay, and what of it?
Would you mind telling us why you were hired by him?
Normally I would. Client's confidentiality and all that, but if telling what I know will help solve my client's murder, then I suppose Josie wouldn't mind me providing any information that I can.
Well, then, why were you hired?
Josiah suspected someone in this household of planning to kill him. He didn't know or wouldn't say who that person was, so he hired me to investigate the lot of them, family, servants, to see if my findings matched his. Only before that happened, I didn't even know what he knew or suspected, and before I got to know, well, you know what happened to him.
But Flynn, what did you find out?
A certain party was greatly in debt. Gambling debts is my guess. And the only way that person could get any money, especially with a potential jail sentence looming overhead, was if Josie should die. It's no wonder he was worried about it.
So the inheritance would cover the gambling debts.
That's what I did think, until tonight, and then coming here and seeing the way that will is constructed, I mean, anyone can get the money if they can crack that coding. It just doesn't make any sense.
But you came here anyway under false pretenses.
I wouldn't talk false pretenses if I were you. You mean he's not a policeman? That I don't know. But I do know that he is not Dan Denton.
How do you know that?
For one thing, I wasn't kidding about that aerobics class. I know Dan Denton quite well. And for another, the real Dan Denton was the victim of a hit-and-run driver about 6 o'clock this evening, just before we all started arriving here. Okay,
bruises and contusions and going to be off his feet for a few weeks. I was his partner, so I decided to come in his place. I didn't count on Flame knowing Dan, of course.
So that's why you acted so surprised when you heard Dan was coming.
Well, naturally, I had just been talking with him in his hospital room about a half an hour before I arrived.
Well, thanks for not blowing my cover, Flame.
It wasn't a professional courtesy by a long shot. For all I knew, you were that hit and run driver. I wanted to see what you were up to before I blew the whistle.
Wait, what if he's not what he says he is? He could be a criminal pretending to be Dan's partner.
Oh, no, Pippi. When the police showed up to investigate Marvin's death, they knew him. They put him in charge of the case. They wouldn't do that with an imposter.
If those really were the police.
Would you stop it, Buzzy? This case is complicated enough already.
Sorry. All right, Mr. Policeman, what is your name?
David Fesco, working out of homicide, same as Dan.
Oh, the initial's still the same.
Oh, Pippi, it wouldn't matter if they weren't. Josiah invited Dan Denton here this evening, so it's his initial we would go by. It doesn't matter what initial Lieutenant Fesco has.
Oh, I see. So everything's still all right then.
However, that brings us back to Jerry again.
Oh, don't rub it in. I've been a real idiot.
Jerry, what's Lieutenant Fesco talking about now?
Who is Lieutenant Fesco?
Oh dear, do we have to go over all of that again?
I can catch you gals up.
I really wish you would.
Well, while you're out, it turns out that Flame is a private investigator hired by Josiah before his death. And that the real Dan Denton is in the hospital, and this is his partner, Dave Fesco.
This is as bad as missing an installment of a soap opera. You leave the room for a few minutes, it's impossible to catch up on the storyline.
Oh, nonsense, Zena. I think Buzzy summed things up quite nicely.
Except that Lieutenant Fesco was just about to accuse Jerry of something when you walked in the room.
Then Eloise was right.
Right about what?
Well, hell, it's just that Eloise thought that, quite rightly now that I've had time to think it over, that as a puzzle expert, I might have been misinterpreting the decoding of the will to get all the money for myself.
And have you been?
No, hardly. We don't even know if there is any money involved.
But what about the Swiss francs?
What Swiss francs?
Punctured hot dogs? Lou figured it out hours ago.
Ah,
Swiss francs. We've all been idiots.
Makes sense once you figure it out.
Yeah, and that's why I think that Eloise's concerns about Jerry are unfounded. With the coding of each clue, it becomes perfectly clear that the solution is correct the moment someone gets it. How could Jerry be pulling any hanky-panky?
but just a minute ago you implied that he was pulling hanky-panky.
No. You misunderstood me. What I was accusing him of was short-sighted stupidity.
That's my boy.
What did my dim-witted buddy do, Lieutenant?
The same thing you did, Benjamin Bradford Burdett.
Who? That's Buzzy's real name, Mrs. Travers.
His initials are 3 B's, and that's why they call him Buzzy.
That's cute.
I always thought so.
Yeah, but what about Mr. Delvin? What did he do?
Just went by his nickname instead of his actual name. Shall I tell him or shall you?
My real first name is Gerald.
But I don't understand what importance his first... Oh.
The initial's different. Lou's got the wrong number.
What? Pibby, are you saying that Lou has already figured out the decoding of the will?
Say, where is Lou, anyhow?
Oh, I'll bet he's on his way to Switzerland, and there isn't anything we can do to stop him.
We've got to stop him.
Oh, then you are interested in the money.
Of course I am, wouldn't you be? But what I meant was if Lou figured out the entire will, he's quite probably figured out Marvin's murderer.
Yipe, I hadn't thought of that.
Fine detective you are.
I'll get an APB out on him. We'll alert the airport.
Wait. You don't have to. He hasn't left the house.
Then where is he?
You'll have to understand. We made a pact out in the kitchen when we were doing up the dinner dishes. We've been friends a long time, and we decided that if one of us could crack the code and know how to get the inheritance, the one who did so would split with the other one, 50-50.
But why should you?
Because 2 heads are better than 1.
Right. That way, neither of you would have to lose out entirely on the inheritance. You could pool your ideas and get a solution sooner.
All right, we all get it, but we're getting off track here. Where is he?
You have to understand, I wouldn't betray a friend, except, well, I don't want to be left in the house with the killer on the loose either.
Pippi, you know who the killer is?
No, he was just about to tell me when you rang the doorbell. So he hid in the closet.
So that's why you were so anxious to hang up Dave's coat for him.
I couldn't let him go in there, could I?
Makes sense to me.
I'm sorry, Lou, but I just had to tell them.
No, no! How did it happen? Is he dead?
Oh, I need a drink. Get her over here to the chair.
But there's nobody in here.
Well, there's gotta be.
Unless there's another way out of there.
For Pippi's sake, there better be.
Oh, Lieutenant, you don't think Pippi killed Lou?
Well, it took Buzzy and me both to get him off that hook.
Pippi could have never done it alone.
And if she had done it, she'd hardly be foolish enough to lead us to the party, would she?
Well, she might have if she knew we'd find the body sooner or later.
But Dave, if we found the body later, we'd never connect it with her.
Oh, that does make sense, you must admit, Lieutenant.
Oh, damn it. Hell, I guess you're right. The fate certainly was the real thing, and nobody could fake turning that ill.
Whoever did this to Lou did a good job of it.
You mean he's dead?
I'm afraid so.
And the identity of the murderer died with him.
Not necessarily. There's still one piece of information that I got at headquarters tonight that practically puts a spotlight on the killer.
Oh, what information?
Hurry, Lieutenant, before someone gets rid of you.
Now that's the most sensible idea I heard all night.
Tell us.
Please.
Don't tantalize us this way!
Come on, Dave, spill it!
Don't keep it to yourself, it's not safe.
I will just as soon as I can get a word in edgewise. Oh, that's better. The two pieces of information that I needed were that speed limit sign.
No, don't
Sheridan.
give us hints. Give us the name.
Okay. What? It's Addie Sheridan.
What? Are you out of your mind?
Oh, Addie, how could you? First poor Uncle Josiah, and then Marvin's, and now Lou!
Oh, Theo, use your head. I couldn't possibly have killed Lou. If he ran into the closet when the doorbell rang, as Pippi asserts, you must remember I was coming down the stairs with you, and I haven't left the room since.
You know, Jerry, she's right. She was on the stairs with us the whole
And
time.
I'm sure she hasn't left the room since.
Not without one of us noticing, that's for sure.
But it has to be Addie.
Why?
Okay, here, let me show you what the coding refers to. See, here you have the speed limit sign. Where's that?
Yeah, Aaron.
You can't just lie here. Come on, Jared, come on.
Yeah, let's
hold
put
it.
his bed in his room.
It's illegal to move the body before the police arrive.
Oh, you are the police,
He's
Dave!
been moved once already.
Oh, we couldn't leave him hanging in the closet.
Lieutenant, it doesn't make sense to leave him here.
Oh, okay, put him in his room.
Oh, it's down the hall back of the kitchen.
Thanks.
Sit down, Pippi. Please, you've had a terrible shock.
No, I'm okay now. It was just the shock, seeing him there on the door, and then when I came to, I couldn't quite remember what had happened, and then I saw him lying there, and it all came back at once.
Addie, don't just stand there. Fix her a brandy.
Never mind. I'll get it. You just stay there in the corner where we can keep an eye on you.
Well, I thought I demonstrated already that I couldn't possibly be the murderer.
She was with us on the stairs when Dave arrived.
Well, yes, but Dave seems so certain.
Yeah, and I don't see how I could have been wrong, except Addie's right. It flew into the closet just as she was coming down the stairs. Damn, now I'm all mixed up.
Well, why don't you tell us what you've discovered?
Or what you thought you discovered.
Okay, back at headquarters tonight, I followed up on a hunch that I have about that Gemini bit that seemed to get a reaction out of Marvin's. I looked back over the last 40 to 50 years with a records clerk in the city for a set of twins being born.
Of course, twins.
That's what Gemini means. The twins.
And how could you? There has to be twins born at least once a week in the city as large as New York.
Ah, but not with twins named Addie Sheridan.
But what made you search for her name, Dave?
This bit here, see? 0 miles per hour. Remember why we couldn't figure out why there were two zeros?
And why were they?
Because they're not zeros, they're O's. And that sign spells O-O-M-P-H.
And Sheridan, the movie. actress.
What are you talking about?
It was before your time, dear. Anne Sheridan was known as the oomph gal, like Clara Bow was known as the it girl.
I don't understand. What does oomph mean?
The publicity people at Warner Brothers, well, they suggested that it was a sort of a sound or a grunt that men would make when Anne Sheridan appeared on the screen.
Oh. Well, that's neat.
So, then the latter part of this will reads, I have been something by Sheridan?
A Gemini in this very house. Of course. No wonder Josiah did the will and code. If we could have seen Addie's name, Addie would have never let us see the will at all.
But she had to, of course, since she didn't know where the money was at.
Oh, Lieutenant, if you would just let me explain.
Wait, Lieutenant. You said the clue pointed to the killer. Where does the code say anything about killing?
Well, that was the real toughie to crack. I thought about anything that could refer to a sailor lying in the sun. I mean, a sailor is a seaman, a salt, a tar, a swabby. And the other part, wow, baking, boiling, browning, canning, redding, the list goes on and on.
But what did you finally settle on?
The sailor is a tar, and he's getting a tan.
And that makes me a murderer. That doesn't even make any sense.
Not until you stop and think where one most often sees a tartan.
On a Scotchman's kilt, of course.
Of course what? I can't make heads nor tails of it.
That's it. Dave, that's gotta be it. P.S. You should also know that I have been killed by Sheridan.
But you're missing one additional vital part of the will.
Are you saying it points to someone else as the murderer?
That's precisely what I'm saying. But that person can't possibly be the murderer.
What other person, Addie?
My twin brother, Marvin's.
What?
Pippi! Look out!
Oh no! She's hurt up, baby! Get her to the couch! Get her to the couch!
What happened?
Someone trying to kill Pippi.
What? Oh, Eloise, dear, you must be delirious.
No one was ever near Pippi.
Oh, stop treating me like a mental defective. I know what I saw.
And just what exactly did you see, Miss Ainsley?
It was a gloved hand with a dagger thrusting towards Pippi's back.
But that's impossible. There was no one anywhere near me.
Whose hand, Eloise?
I don't know. From the foot of the stairs with that closet jutting out like that, I couldn't see the actual person. Just his hand and his arm.
But there was nobody near Pippi. She was all alone by the phonograph.
Just like Marvin's before the lights went out.
Jerry, you mean you think Eloise did see somebody?
Well, with all that's been going on around here, nothing would surprise me anymore.
Of course I saw someone. I just couldn't see the actual person. What do you mean, all that's been going on here? Has something else happened? Oh, besides Marvin's murder?
Oh, now, dear, don't overexcite yourself. Why don't we just go back upstairs to bed and...
No way, not again. I barely got to sleep when I heard all you screaming down here. That's what brought me downstairs. I heard screaming and shouting and a lot of muffled murmuring. I couldn't stand not knowing what happened. Will someone tell me what happened?
That must have been just about the time that Pippi...
Buzzy! Theo! Will you stop fluttering like a mother hen? About what, Buzzy?
Your cook, Lou.
He's dead?
As a mackerel.
Why? Why would anyone murder a cook?
He said he knew who the murderer was.
Who did he say it was?
He didn't. And now, poor dear, he never will be able to.
But as a matter of fact, we think we know who killed him.
We do?
Since when?
Oh, you two weren't in the room when we figured it out.
Figured what out?
If we're not being too nosy.
Dave found out that Marvin's is actually Addie's twin brother, and that's what Gemini means in the chart. And a sailor is a tar getting a tan.
And a tartness on a kilt. And a kilt is a pun on the word killed.
And Anne Sheridan was known as the oomph gal.
What the hell is this, a murder investigation or Trivial Pursuit?
Buzzy, that's what
limit sign means. It's not 2 zeros, it's 2 O's. And OOMPH spells oof. And Zeta, remember, that's what they used to call it in Sheridan.
So I had a city record store with twins named Sheridan.
Oh, hold it, wait a minute, but my head is spinning. You're saying that Addie did it.
Well, that's what they've been trying to say, but they keep forgetting one other clue in the will that points to the older Gemini being the killer. If Lieutenant had done his investigation in depth, he would know that I am the younger twin.
That's impossible. I mean, everything fits. Let's see, Sunday, October 31st in the year 1900.
But no, damn it, we know Marvins was born on Halloween. He already told us that.
So that means his twin sister had to have been born on the same date.
Oh, honey, I always knew you were real bright.
Okay, Dave, the time of the births.
Marvin Sheridan was born at 1:05 a.m. that Sunday.
That's correct, Lieutenant. Now read the next part.
And Addie Sheridan was born at 1:50 a.m. that Sunday.
So that makes Addie 45 minutes younger than Marvin's?
That's crazy. I mean, Addie's the younger Gemini.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you all earlier. The murderer named in the will is my brother Marvin's.
But Marvins was killed because he was trying to tell us the identity of the murderer.
But we can't know that.
What other reason could there be?
This is insane. You're all saying that Marvin's was the murderer according to the will, but he was stabbed before he could identify that murderer. I simply cannot see how he can be both.
Murderer and murder victim? Neither can I.
Unless his conscience tormented him until...
He killed himself?
Theo, no one can commit suicide by stabbing themselves in their own back.
Even if they wanted to, I don't see how they could.
I don't suppose your brother moonlighted as a contortionist.
Fuzzy, Marvin's had a hard enough time walking across the room, let alone plunging a dagger into his own back.
But Flame, if we all keep insisting that he didn't do it,
Then one of us did it.
and that means that Josiah Traveler's accusation is incorrect.
Which means that the entire will could be incorrect.
And the numbers on the safe deposit box in Luzerne?
There's only one way to find out. We need to figure out those numbers and see if there is such a box.
But which one of us do we trust to go to Lucerne to find out?
I can't find it.
I'm trying to say lose your big self too.
Marty. Yeah, no, it's another murder. Nope, this time it was strangulation. Except, hold on a second. Fuzzy, you're the medical man. It was strangulation, wasn't it?
That seems to be the most likely cause of death. I mean, that rope around his neck wasn't helping matters any.
Yeah, but you can't be absolutely sure.
Hell, man, I don't know. It could be some kind of rare South American poison, sure, but why would the killer even bother? A rope around the windpipe does the trick quite nicely.
Marty? Yeah, it almost has to be strangulation. We'll let the medical examiner give the final verdict. How soon can you get here? Great, thanks. 15, 20 minutes, he figures.
Oh, good. Gives us just enough time to pretty up again before they start grilling us.
Or we could play charades.
How can you all be so nonchalant about this?
Oh, we're not really, honey. It's just the mind's way of giving out protection, called post-shock syndrome.
Seems easiest just to get a big giddy than to face up to the horror.
It beats running around in circles and screaming any day.
Personally, I prefer hysterics to dumb jokes.
Not me. I've had all the hysterics tonight that I want to have in my lifetime.
Amen to that.
Has anybody figured out those numbers yet?
Doesn't seem to be much point at the moment. No one's gonna let you guys leave the neighborhood, let alone jaunt across the Atlantic.
Hey, buddy, don't forget that restriction includes you, too.
What are you talking about?
Now, being on the homicide squad doesn't absolve you as a suspect, Dave.
Considering the salaries they pay policemen, a box of Swiss francs could be mighty tempting.
That's true enough, but you seem to forget one thing. I didn't have an opportunity to commit either murder.
For that matter, none of us did, but 2 murders have been done.
Oh, hell, we may as well try to figure out those numbers while we're waiting.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see the will in its entirety at that.
Shouldn't you be refraining from drinking while on duty?
After witnessing 2 murders today, I don't think the police commissioner will want to stay totally sober.
And don't forget the attempted murder of Pippi.
That's right. That's another surprising development. What was the motive? Lawrence or Lou could have identified the killer, but what did Pippi know?
Nothing. Nothing at all. At least nothing that anyone would want to kill me over.
However, we do only have the testimony of Eloise that there even was an attempt on Pippi's life.
How dare you, Addie? I may not be perceptive, but I know what I saw. It's not my fault. Nobody else did.
Eloise, no one is saying you were lying, just mistaken.
All right, here's the numbers to make all our dreams come true.
Let's have at it then. And I'll race you off the border.
Do you want just the numbers or the whole calculation?
Might as well give us the whole thing. That way, in case there's a mistake, someone will catch it.
Fair enough. Taking us alphabetically, it goes like this. Addie, Buzzy, Connie, Dan, Eloise, Flame. Then we skip G, H, and I, and then we come to...
Wait, remember that Jerry is actually Gerald, so.
It doesn't matter. I've got to give old Josiah credit. He must have taken that into account when he coded the thing.
Taking what into account, Buzzy?
Which name Jerry would be going by. You see, the number itself is 3. I mean, the missing letters till the next name are G, H, and I. But if he goes by Gerald, it's still 3 because we drop the upcoming J, and the missing letters become H, I, J. See? It's still 3 of them either way.
All right, we get it. Just carry on.
All right, the next group of names are Kissy, Lou, and Marvin's. Then we skip N and O, which gives us 2 as the next digit. And we move on to Pippi, then skip QRS, giving 3 again as the third number. And then comes Theodosia, and we skip through U, V, W, X, and Y, giving us a number 5. And we wrap up the alphabet with Zeta.
So the safety deposit box number is 3235, and the last part.
Oh, 8-2. As in A2 Brute minus the brew and the tay.
Okay, just for clarification then, let's see how the whole will reads. The way Josiah decided to have it be decoded.
My friends, please bear with me. I belong to a club whose members enjoy dabbling in rebuses. I've decided to leave my vast fortune to anyone, friend, relative, or stranger, who can decode this, my last will and testament.
You will find a large sum of Swiss francs in a safe deposit box in the CERN, the number of which is first, initially, the missing letters of this group,
3235.
plus
8-2.
Good luck to you all, Josiah Travers.
P.S. You should also know that I have been killed by Sheridan, an older Gemini in this very house.
Kindly see to the usual legalities inherent in such instances. JT. You know, I think I was incorrect in thinking that referred to me. I think that part refers to you, Lieutenant.
You mean the usual legalities being a roundabout way of saying call the cops?
Oh, nicely put, Pippi.
So now seriously, what's our next move?
What do you mean?
Well, let's say the cops show up, take Lou's body away, and somehow the case is declared unsolvable or something. I mean, we all get off the hook about having to stay in New York City.
Yeah.
Was Kissy right a moment ago? Did we all race each other to the airport or what?
Well, you know, now that I think about it, as much as Josiah enjoyed doing puzzles, I just can't see him sending a group of frantic travelers on a neck-to-neck race to Switzerland.
It wasn't like Josiah, no. But of course, Connie, you, Kissy, and I, we have our trust fund, but would Josiah do that to the others?
You're right. Would he do such a thing to Aunt Eloise, for instance? I know he liked her. She should be able to have some kind of inheritance without having to scramble for it.
And what about the servants? I'm sure Marvin's put in years of loyal service, and Lou and Pippi rated consideration.
And what about Addie's legal fees? I mean, isn't a lawyer entitled to a certain percentage of the estate for, well, handling matters for the deceased. It just doesn't seem fair somehow for Josiah to, well...
Stiffer.
Yes, Buzzy, that's exactly what I mean.
So what you're all saying is that the terms of the will are not characteristic of Josie? Oh, I have to agree. I mean, I didn't know the man very well, but it just isn't like him.
You don't suppose now it couldn't be that somehow we've interpreted this coding all wrong, do you?
That brings us back to Eloise's earlier concern about Jerry.
Oh, no, wait a minute now, really. You can't be serious. I mean, I can't be absolutely certain that my interpretations were perfectly correct, but now, keep in mind, I wasn't the only one decoding this will.
Jerry's right. While he and I were stashing poor Lou's body in his bedroom, you all had a field day romping through the clues. How do we know that we can trust the rest of you?
Well, you know, giving our current interpretation, no matter who made the errors, what alternative interpretation could there be?
Beats me where we might have gone wrong. Anyone else have any ideas?
Look now, we all know that some of the coding is simple. I mean, certain parts are blatantly obvious, like that last will and testament bit. Maybe if we eliminate everything we're sure of and concentrate on the part where several interpretations are possible.
That's very good thinking, Zeta. Very good.
Jerry, darling, take it from the top.
Well, the beginning part seems childishly simple to me. I mean, the bear, the oblongs, the card, the arms and legs, the buses. Any arguments there?
No.
And that therefore sign almost has to mean that.
And everything up to the last will and testament, well, that's unarguably correct.
But that's where things start getting sticky. Do those punctured hot dogs mean Swiss francs? Is that wobbly base capable meaning nothing but Lucerne?
Oh, Jerry, skip down to the part about the Gemini and the
No. Let's take them in sequence now. Let's not jump around.
but I'm really concerned about the twin part, Jerry.
But not awfully concerned about the twin, as I recall.
It is kind of odd now that you mention it.
Yes, I mean, if my twin brother had been murdered, I'd be a basket case for weeks.
Oh, Eloise, you are always a basket case. Just because I'm, well, not the emotional type, I keep my feelings deep and hidden.
Where were you when your brother was killed?
Why, I left the room much earlier with Zita and with Theo, you remember?
Addie, you stopped to use the bathroom down the hall, and we went on without you.
And that's odd, come to think of it. When I arrived here, Addie had gone to the bathroom to, I don't know, comb her hair or something. It seemed strange she'd go back there so soon again.
Oh, this is ridiculous. I met her no one. I wasn't even in the room.
Well, that's true, but actually,
What is it, Kissy?
Have you come up with something?
yes, at least sort of.
Oh, for Pete's sake, Kissy. The last two people who held back information will never be talking again.
But Jerry, it's not information, it's just kind of a nutty notion.
Whatever it is, spill it and quickly.
Yes, please. The lights go out far too easily in this house.
All right. Here it is, for what it's worth. It suddenly struck me as odd that for each murder that was committed, it wasn't always the same person who couldn't have done it.
Would you run that past me again? I must have missed something.
I get the creepy feeling that maybe more than one person is in on it.
Kissy, what are you saying?
Well, when Mullins was killed, he was far away from any of us in the room. Dave was up by the bar, the rest of us by the desk. And Addie and Zeta and Eloise and Theo were somewhere else in the house, and Zeta and Lou were in the kitchen.
Well, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, when Lou was killed, again, nobody could have done it. Unless Pippi was lying, Lou was mighty alive and went into that closet, and mighty dead when he came out, and Pippi was not strong enough to have hung her up on the door.
No, Kissy. We know all that, but I'm not following you any more than Dave.
Hold it. I'm starting to get a glimmering.
We know both murders were done, but we also know that neither of them could have been done.
And Pimmy's murder almost done.
And the killer has to be somebody already in the house, but everybody is perfectly alibied for both occasions. So that must mean that there's a Confederate in this house too.
A Confederate? So now you're saying that the murderer was Robert E. Lee?
Addie, there's no call to be flippant.
Never mind turning the clocks back to the Civil War. We need a solution to today's problems.
Holy jumping Jehoshaphat! Dave, what? The Sheridan twins. Did that clerk give you their weights at birth?
Jerry, have you scuttled your rowboat or what?
Yeah, is the strain too much for you, buddy?
No, just give me the information.
I have the vaguest idea what you're driving at, Jerry, but I could give you that information.
Not while you're still a suspect. I want to hear it from a cop.
Oh, how dare you?
Okay, all right. Would you mind telling me what the relative size?
Just give me their weights, Lieutenant.
Okay, Marvin's was 6 pounds 4 ounces, Addie 6 pounds 5.
I could have told you that. Except for looks, we were identical in every way. Weight, height, health.
Beautiful. Then that and Theo's remark about the Civil War clinches it.
What?
Fuzzy, when a woman gives birth to twins, what is the normal or average amount of time between their delivery, if they're both about the same size and weight?
Well, there's no hard and fast rule, of course, but 5 minutes, 15 tops. I mean, once she is sufficiently...
Please, Mr. Bridget, not in front of the girls.
Oh, honestly, Eloise.
They do teach that in grammar school nowadays.
Well, I still think it's a sense of propriety.
Okay, let me balderize it a bit then. Once one twin arrives, the way is pretty much clear for his companion to show up pretty easily.
Well, that proves nothing, other than the fact that, well, our mother had a very hard time. You can't argue that an interval of 45 minutes is impossible.
She's got us there, Jer.
But what in the blazes has giving birth got to do with the Civil War?
Not a damn thing.
Yeah, but you said.
No, not what I said, what Theo said.
Jerry, surely you don't think I had anything to...
Jerry, you can't mean it.
I mean what? I didn't accuse her of anything.
What the hell you didn't? We just heard you.
Oh, not you too. No, I'm merely trying to show the flaw in a statement that we've all been accepting absolutely without question.
Well, I personally am sick and tired of all of these insults. What my weight at birth, what does it have anything to do with it? What possible importance does it have with anything?
I think that should be perfectly obvious to all of
Jer,
us.
look out!
Please, hussy, or those hot dogs won't be the only things with holes in them.
That's the thing I saw going for Pippi, except it was nowhere near as long as that.
Let it go, Sheridan. The game's up.
Very well. Very well.
And that's how Marvin's murder was committed.
A nifty little gadget. Pull the lever back here at the bar, and the victim gets it all the way over there. Sorry.
It's kind of a variation on a spear gun, except if the dagger gets you, it stays in the victim's back until that arm and hand thing disappear again.
Fuzzy, you knew about this? Of course. Jerry faked that argument with Buzzy, so Jerry would go over there by the wall and give Addie time to deploy that dagger thingy.
Right.
Excuse me, but...
Yes.
What in the world does this have to do with the Civil War?
As I said before, Mrs. Travers, not a thing.
It's what you said about the Civil War that gave us our clue.
Theo, what did you say?
Oh, I can't remember now. It had something to do right after Addie made that snide remark about Robert E. Lee. I do remember that much.
And you snapped at her about turning the clocks back. That's the clue we were looking for.
I wish you'd explain it to me, Jer. I'm
Flame, I don't understand. The way you got the drop on Addie, I assumed you were in on it.
not quite all the way, I'm afraid. They simply alerted me to get the drop on whoever went behind the bar. Why it turned out to be Addie, I haven't the faintest idea. Except that the will was absolutely correct about the killer being a Sheridan.
Correct, Pippi. Josiah Travers was a very shrewd man, but he neglected to pay attention to the significance on the date the twins were born.
15 minutes apart.
But
What do you mean, Dave? What, us?
Hey, I resent that. I told you exactly what the
No,
record
no, no,
store
Dave, you weren't lying, and neither was that clerk.
Well, Jerry, would you please explain it to me before I scream?
It's so obvious we should all be horsewhipped for not recognizing it sooner.
The twins were born on Halloween, early on a Sunday morning,
Jerry,
which made it the last Sunday in October.
But we know that already, Jerry.
Yes, but what happens on the last Saturday in October?
We turn the clocks back.
Yes, but what has that got to do with the last Sunday?
Because that's the real time the clocks get turned back. Most people do it, of course, Saturday before they go to bed.
But the real official turn back time is 2 a.m. Sunday.
Hey, are you saying that
Addie Sheraton was born at 1:50 like you told us. And then 10 minutes later,
We turn the clocks back to 1 a.m.
And 5 minutes past 1 a.m., Marvin's was born, making Addie the older Gemini, as Josiah said.
I never did like having that woman around, and now I know why.
Jerry, I owe you an apology. I would be most pleased to have a puzzle expert as a member of our family. Oh, but it still doesn't explain the attack on Pippi.
she's right, Jerry. What motive did she have on using the dagger gadget on Pippi?
First things first, I want to know why Addie murdered Josiah.
And why she felt it necessary to chop him into 17 pieces.
Yeah, Addie, that was, among other things, a bit excessive.
Well, I'll admit I did lose my head a little bit, but well, what would you have done? We just got finished doing the will, and I knew I was going to need my legal fees to pay off all of my gambling debts, and well, since he and I were the only ones in the house, we were alone, I took the cleaver and I just gave him a whack in the back of the head. Oh, he died instantly, I'm sure you'd be happy to know, but I picked up the will and I tried to read it.
And you couldn't, no more than the rest of us.
Precisely. So in my rage and frustration, I picked up the nearest thing handed to me and I just whack.
Addie, 17 pieces?
Oh, well, after the first 10, I kind of lost count.
Well, I guess that wraps things up. I'll take over now, Flame. But don't anybody go anywhere. Once I get back from the police station, I have a few odds and ends I'd like explained.
Dave, I've got an odd one right now. Why are you taking her down to the station?
Are you serious? She's committed to murder, and she's admitted to murder, and as an officer of the law,
Haven't you forgotten the police are already on their way?
That's right, he phoned them from that very desk just a little while ago.
just a long while ago, come to think of it, but if so, where are they?
what are you saying?
First of all, that your behavior is a little bit screwy. Let me, just check up on that phone.
Hold it right there.
Oh, so you did fake that call.
And pretty cleverly, too. But this jerk even pretended to be asking me questions about the strangulation.
I thought it was a nice touch myself.
But I don't understand what does Dave have to do with any of this?
Theo, sometimes I don't think you use the brains you were born with, Dave. Obviously, as that Confederate we've been postulating.
Good for you, Eloise.
You're acting mighty chipper for a man who's about to die, Jerry. Get Fleets, goddammit, I can't cover the whole room.
Wait, if you're going to kill us, at least tell us why you tried to kill Pippi.
I could, but why would I bother?
But that's not fair. The villain always tells in the last reel.
Ah, but you see, this isn't the last reel. This is the first reel. We're going to do it with a lot of you. We're going to get on a plane, and we're going to go to Luzerne.
It's not as time-consuming as all that. Addie, the money is not in Lucerne.
Oh, you caught that bit too.
What bit?
The misinterpretation about the urn and the rebus, of course.
Oh, thank you. Did do some hanky-panky, Jerry.
Yes, well, not to you, not intentionally. I had to keep Dave and Addie in the dark. I'm sorry I had to flummox the rest of you.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that you knew I was in on it? Even while we were coding the will?
Yes. Huh. No, but I can't take the credit for it. Flame told me.
Well, how did Flame know?
I knew before I even got here tonight. See, Dave, you weren't quite as deft as you thought getting Dan Denton out of the picture. He saw who was driving that hit-and-run car.
How could he? I had my scarf over my face and... Oh, I walked right into that one.
You see, Dan Denton and I were talking tonight, And we were both certain that the reason he had been hit was that so someone could come here in his place. I knew who was guilty from the moment you walked into this room.
But I thought he was just pretending to be Dan so that he could...
Without telling Dan what he planned to do? Not very likely.
And what kind of cop, when his partner is almost killed, doesn't pay him a visit in the hospital?
Okay, you're right. For all the good it's going to do you. Let's get this thing over with, shall we?
Can you please explain a few things? First, I mean, it's not as if the police were really on their way.
And you do have all the time in the world, even if we don't.
I could, but why would I bother?
Well, I would kind of like to know the part about the money, Dave. I mean, aren't I entitled to some consideration here?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I guess you're right. It's in that sea eagle over there. It belonged to the late cook.
Well, Lou promised me I could have it.
What do you mean, Pippi?
Hold it. Why would the Travers family let their cook keep a stuffed bird in the parlor?
Oh, it was a gift from my husband, Charles. All of these animals belong to various household members. Charles thought they would make rather nice birthday presents.
And what did the household think?
Well, I'd rather not say.
Oh, damn it, Dave, what does this have to do with anything?
Well, let me explain that. Anyone who has done a great number of puzzles will know that the definition that often comes up for a sea eagle is an urn. E-R-N-E, urn.
And it belonged to Lou. Lou's urn!
Right on the button. That's what the urn meant in Aruba's.
Well, if the safe deposit box is in there, why bother to give us the number?
There you've got me.
Well, why don't we open it up and find out?
Hold it. Just stay right where you are. How about you take a look?
You know, I hate to keep harping on the thing, but as long as we're all waiting here, why did someone try to murder Pippi?
When I overheard Lou saying that Pippi could keep the bird if something should happen to him, I thought she'd get all sentimental when her friend was killed. Pick the thing up and
Hold it! Backtrack a bit. When did you hear them talking?
When he was hiding in the closet there before he rang the doorbell.
Very clever, Mr. Delvin. How'd you know?
Well, it wasn't that hard to find the secret panel when you knew there had to be one in that closet.
But how did you know?
Well, it was the only explanation for Lou's murder. Pippi couldn't heft him up there, and when we went in, there was no one else, and there was empty, so there had to be another exit.
But Jerry, when you came out of that closet, you said you couldn't find a secret panel.
Kissy, honey, he didn't want Dave to know he found it.
Why not?
Because the panel opens up to the front porch. And who was it who came in from that front porch minutes later?
Oh, that sneak, that wonderful, lovable sneak.
Wonderful.
Lovable.
Oh, settle down, you two. I'm not talking about Dave.
They
Who?
knew.
My husband Charles, of course. You see, he had started to take, staying out late many, many nights, and I would get very angry and wait for him in the front hall. And so many nights I would suddenly hear him snoring, and there he'd be, asleep in his favorite armchair with a book open on his lap.
Do you mean to say?
Oh, how very devious of Daddy.
I can see him now, hopping into the closet, ditching his hat and coat, and easing into the room.
Grabbing a book, sliding into his armchair, and snoring, so that I would think he'd been asleep there all along.
He sounded like a man I would have liked to have known.
Yeah.
Oh, he was, darling. He was.
Oh, I got it. This is why we needed those numbers. It's a combination lock.
Well, open the thing and let's get out of here.
What were those numbers again?
3, 2, 3, 5, 8, 2.
Stop!
As soon as she opens the box, they're gonna kill us!
Aw, but Addie's not gonna open the box.
Oh, and why not?
Because you are a cat.
Addie, you gone crazy?
Oh, no, that was me she turned into an idiot.
Never mess with the gypsy type.
Oh no, you're not trying the same trick on me.
Watch out!
Well, what now, Dave? With Addie out of commission, you can't kill us all.
You're right, you stinking super brain. So if I have to pick and choose my victims of care.
Won't lose.
What? But you're dead. Well, if you're not, you're going to be. Oh no.
Sister, honey, it's all right. It's all right.
Listen, everybody, those police sirens that we hear.
But I thought Chief fixed that call.
Oh, he did. This was just fire. I phoned him just before I came in.
But when you examined him on the couch, you said he was dead.
What did you expect me to do? Let the killer know he made a mistake so he can kill him again?
Mr. Burdett, you're much smarter than you look.
Thanks.
Zeta, can you do something about our feline friend?
Sorry, that was the first thing that came to my mind. You are a brand muffin.
Zeta, did you forget something?
A breathing brand muffin. Thanks, Fuzzy.
Oh, Lou, you took such an awful chance. What if he had shot you before you clobbered him with that frying pan?
Not a chance of that, my dear. I took the bullets out of his gun hours ago. We gypsy types are pretty good pickpockets.
Hours ago? You mean before he got the drop on us?
Oh, we wanted to be prepared. We weren't sure exactly when he would revert back to type.
But how did you know that Addie was in cahoots with Dave?
Well, whoever was operating that dagger mechanism that killed Marvin's had to be behind the bar at that time. And that's where Dave was, all alone. The rest of us were down by the desk.
But how did he turn off the lights from there?
Ah, that's where Addie came into it. I suspect that while the rest of you were out and around, she slipped into the bathroom, easily went out the bathroom window, came around through that front porch panel, reached out of the closet, dimming the lights. Then all she had to do was go back up into the bathroom to come back down with the rest of you while Dave was eliminating Marvin's from the bar.
All right, we can iron out the details later. Right now, let's get a look into that box.
Yes.
Good idea. After all, that's what this evening's been all about.
And I need a drink. That news didn't do my throat any good.
It's a good thing you've got a thick neck.
There, that's got it. Well, I'll be darned.
Oh, what is it, Jerry? Aren't the Swiss francs there?
I'm afraid not.
What?
Apparently we made a mistake about the holy hot dogs. That's not exactly what the drawings signify.
What then, Jerry?
Those are not dogs. Those are pods. Those are not holes. Those are seeds. What Josiah had drawn there is St. John's bread.
Isn't that a fancy name for, what is it, the Caribbean?
Correct. And what does that remind you of?
Caribbean, as in the Caribbean Sea?
Correct. And thinking of C in financial circles, what does that signify?
The C note, like in a $100 bill.
Bingo! And in this box, in bundles of 1,000 each, with one name on each packet, are more C notes than I've ever seen in my life.